I think my wife is a pedophile. My wife, F53, loves watching dancing and prank videos on TikTok. I started seeing a pattern with her following list, but I ignored it for the sole reason that they were dancing videos and such. She showed me a prank video on her phone and left to the restroom. Got one of those notifications of someone liking comments and I click on it. It sent me to a page of a high school player. A high school player that's only 15 years old. You must be wondering what the problem is. Well, her comment read, "You are so hot." The boy is 15 years old, she's old enough to be the boy's grandma. What do I do? Edit. Didn't think I would get so many responses. First and foremost, I appreciate most of the comments here. As for how I feel, I'm not really feeling in no way bad or anything. It's just disgusting and unexpected for her to have this type of behavior, 31 years married and 3 kids. I have access to her phone for anyone wondering, as she does mine. For those saying to confront her, I will not be doing so as she's ill with cancer and already going through a lot. This doesn't mean I'm going to keep it to myself. I will approach her once she feels a bit better from chemo in a more civilized manner. The many comments to reply to, so I will stop responding. Feel free to leave suggestions. I've seen women be creepy AF like your wife about underage teen boys. So gross. Just like it is when men do this about underage teen girls. Yuck. I'm sorry, op. I think you need to explain to her how grossly inappropriate that comment is and why. Communicate. But I admit I would seriously have the ick if my male partner were looking at underage girls like that. Gross. How do you think I feel? It came out of nowhere, to 31 years married and she never displayed this behavior. Without knowing the ages of your kids, I'd definitely throw in a civilized manner when you do get around to talking to her to ask if she'd be okay with one of her peers or friends making similar remarks or comments about your kids. Surely, she would not appreciate it. But sometimes it isn't obviously so. I mean, benefit of the doubt concerning nonetheless. But it's generally a tactic I use when context calls for it with my so. I'm surprised by how many instances where my so didn't get it until I raised a reverse scenario, i.e. how would you feel if XYZ? So yeah. Tough one. Hope you're doing okay, all things considered. It's okay to be alarmed and disturbed and lost. Just keep moving forward. If I were you, I'd feel grossed out and horrified. Maybe when you explain it to her, you ask her how she'd feel if you were commenting that 15-year-old girls were hot. I'm really so sorry, op. My husband's behavior absolutely changed when he started chemo. I was not able to recognize him, not in a good way. His doctor told me it is called chemo brain, and unfortunately it is common. Their brains significantly deteriorate during and after chemo. It is like mental illness. I don't think the timing is coincidental. Has she been to a therapist since getting her cancer diagnosis? She may be experiencing some form of psychological age regression in response to the stress and trauma of the diagnosis and treatment. If you're saying she never displayed behavior like this before, then it could potentially be a medical problem. Take her to her doctor to make sure it's not dementia or anything serious. It's chemo brain. You need to speak to a doctor. There's a reason this has come out of nowhere and directly correlated with her chemo. I thought so as well. Sounds like misplaced material instinct going out as sexual energy. I've worked with really innocent hospice patients that have done this. I'm not saying that it isn't that, but you've taken very little evidence and jumped to a conclusion. Although it's entirely possible and definitely something op should inquire about, don't straight up be like, yeah, it's this, and I know this because you found out while she's undergoing chemo. You definitely need a conversation with her DR oncologist. Changes to the brain can cause disinhibited, unexpected behavior. I see that your wife has chemo, presumably for cancer. I would personally request a brain scan, especially if this behavior is 100% out of the blue. Yeah, she has a fluids appointment set for next week. Her doctor usually pulls me aside and talks about her progress. So I'll be speaking to him about it. Thank you. Do not confront your wife before talking with her doctors. This could be a behavior caused 100% by her treatment. Not something she maliciously plotted out and planned. She is sick, undergoing serious treatment. Do nothing to create more stress and distress to her. Just maybe block this young boy's account where she won't have access to it and any others that might look questionable. If she says something about it, say something like you think she was hacked or has a virus, something to explain deleting the program. Tell her it is creepy and she is pushing into pedodom. Pedoism. Pedophilia. Pedonkadink. Honky tuonk, pedonkadink. Call her out. Screenshots. This. Call her out in the style of an Irish traveler call-out video, those are the best call-outs going. Don't need to call her out, but mention it to her. I don't know how TikTok works, but it could be possible that she liked the comment by accident. I do this all the time on YouTube and Instagram, I usually notice right away and unlike again. What I'm curious about is what pattern he has noticed. It wasn't an accidental like. She commented on the kid's post and called him hot, and the ops saw a notification from the kid liking the comment. Ooh oh. Gosh, I read it like he got a notification that she liked a comment, clicked on it, and was sent to the comment she liked under the kid's post, like on old Instagram. I have no idea how TikTok works. If she was the one writing the comment, it makes the situation entirely different. That's creepy as hell. You really need to talk to her and let her know how she's coming across. She could potentially catch a charge for sexual comments to a minor. Which she would deserve. Inappropriate behavior at her age might be something to talk to her doctor about. It might be the last surge of hormones before menopause. It might be an early sign of dementia. It might be syphilis. If this is totally out of right field, it might need to be checked out by a doctor. We found out that my uptight Christian grandmother had dementia when she turned in a raging mess of hormones. He also said she is undergoing cancer treatments right now, and cancer brain is a real reaction to radiation therapy. Yeah, that's what a couple people have suggested. As for menopause, well, she had hers at 48. Surge of hormones and menopause does not cause this. Curious if part of it is the attention she gets in comments of others liking her comment and commenting. Like she enjoy the social interactions without truly thinking through these are real people and it's grossly inappropriate. Would she leer at and comment on a boy at the actual local football game, or is the anonymity of the internet making her not think clearly? Is she truly lusting after this child? I agree double standards exist with women and men, especially on internet comments. Just look at a post about Jason Momoa and ask if men posted about women's bodies, the way women feel free to talk, how it would be viewed. I just saw an article about the guy who played in the kissing booth and how uncomfortable it made him with women commenting on his body. Then see how Ellen treated him. She is over the line, but maybe confusing social norms set up where cougars ogle young men as a silly social activity versus really thinking about the predatory nature of what she is doing. If you discuss and let her know and think about it and she seems like she can't stop, that's where you would really be concerned. According to this Reddit doctor, hypersexuality and inappropriate sexual behavior, like weird stuff, like towards family members, is an early sign of Parkinson's too, I believe. That would explain so much about my uncle. So if it's a man, it's because he's a pedophile straight up, and if it's a woman, there's 1,000 different reasons. I'm not trying to diminish that it could be any one of these things, but had this post been from a woman about her husband, I'm not sure we'd be seeing these helpful comments. Its cause it appears to have come from nowhere all of a sudden. It is by no means acceptable behavior, but it could mean something is amiss. Yeah, like if a man suddenly was doing this behavior after 31 years of loyal marriage, it would still be concerning. In addition to that, women do have more hormonal changes anyway, and it's still fairly common. That's not the point. It's important to know where this comes from, because if it is something that can be treated, that'd be the best way to deal with it. Just like when these disgusting sexual urges are caused by trauma and past abuse, in both men and women. It doesn't excuse it or makes it less awful, but if treated, it's less dangerous to the kids around these people and means less one active predator. I agree that this is not the point, or at least it shouldn't be. But it is probably a side issue worth pointing out. Otherwise, there's latent hypocrisy going on, and people should be ashamed of the thought processes behind trying to find better reasons for women's behavior in this manner than for lazily condemning men's behavior as straight-up pedophilia. Yes, there is no distinction between a male pedo or a female pedo. Same crime, same sentence. However, what I mean is, people are pointing it out because she might be ill and need help. Her behavior is as bad as a man's would be, but I can guarantee you that if it was a man with any indication of being ill, mentally or physically, I would point it out anyway. Because I believe that treating the cause of her behavior is beneficial for the people in her life, especially her 3 children. Awesome, that's what I was hoping would be the case. Thank you for confirming it and putting my fear to rest. It is gross behavior which may the result of the cancer. Regardless of the reason, the kids affected should not be receiving this kind of attention. From Op's point of view, the question is, does he report his wife, get her prosecuted, and allow her to die in jail, or does he determine whether there is a medical reason? People love to say, if this were a man you all would be 100 times meaner. That is easy to throw out there, which doesn't make it true. Can you find an equivalent case in which a man suffering from a medical condition which is known to affect judgment suddenly starts engaging in inappropriate behavior, doing things he had never done before? The behavior of men is often scrutinized on Reddit because male supremacy is a widespread belief which leads men to engage in well-identified patterns of behavior which are harmful to women, as well as men perceived to be lower ranking or not feminine enough. However, this particular case of bad behavior has its own set of specifics. The argument, look, here's a woman doing something bad, therefore you complain about men too much, is a fallacious one. I think it's because if a man, it's more likely he is a pedo because of just the usual cases, like Leonardo DiCaprio has an ongoing joke of breaking up with women once they're 25 because they're too old, but you wouldn't see that with a woman. A man is also more likely to be a predator, hence the larger statistics of rape and violence against women overall. Other small factors like he'll just marry a rich old man or sugar daddies, just being old men in their 60s or so paying younger women to spend time with them. I'm not saying the opposite doesn't happen, of course it does, it's just way less likely, that's all. But the info about her cancer, and I'm assuming she is taking chemo, that can really change a person, including their memory. I'm wondering whether she forgot what age she is at that moment. I know some damage to the brain can affect their libido. So if she has any of that, that may be the case. The conversation needs to be had. That's unacceptable and inappropriate. Definitely call her out on it. Talk to her and tell her to stop using TikTok. Maybe it's the chemo brain fog. If she's never displayed this behavior before, it could be a weird one-off. No. Don't listen to all these people saying you need to call her out. First you need to investigate further. Go through her phone, look at all the comment notifications, check her messages, make sure she's not on dating apps, check her photos, videos, social media. You need to see if it goes beyond that one comment. And then act accordingly. She's not tech savvy. Any social media she has were created by our daughter to myself. I had previously told someone on here that I have access to her phone as she does mine. And I'm not calling her out. Still check them. Check the notifications and scroll where you saw that comment.